suggest you not keep me waiting long. His Majesty's envoys are not accustomed to wasting their time at Greek Inn.
Well, I'll read the rest of this in private and prepare my reply. You may wait for it or you may return as it pleases you. Demetrius, stay here.
Are you the slave?
Yes, sir.
And who's the pretty one over there?
Why, that's Theodosia, the daughter of the innkeeper.
Indeed. We must make her acquaintance while we wait. What's your name?
Please, sir, she's my daughter.
And you're so fortunate, woman, to have so fair a daughter. We must know her better.
I beg of you, sir.
Timid, eh? Since when is the daughter of a Greek innkeeper so frugal with her smiles?
Tribune, the house of you poets has always been respectable. You must not offend my daughter.
Offend indeed. And who are you to tell Tribune Quintus Lucian what to do? Be gone, woman. And what do you think you're doing here, slave?
My master ordered me to stay, sir. Theodosia, you'd better go in the house with your mother.
Demetrius, you shouldn't.
So, the slave interferes.
Oh!
You'll die for this.
Very well, I'm going to die for punishing you.
Have you killed him?
No, I haven't.
Well, I'll be thrown into prison.
Well, you had nothing to do with this. That can be proven.
Are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. But you'd better go in the house.
He's right. Shall I do anything for the Tribune?
Yes, maybe get a towel and a basin of water and clean him up some.
But if he finds you here when he comes around, Demetrius,
He won't. I'll be gone.
it was a brave thing you did, Demetrius. I thank you for it.
Theodosia said there's been a fight. Rather one-sided by the looks of Tribune Quintus.
But, sir, he insulted the family, and Theodosia in particular. So I rebuked him.
And most effectively, but Demetrius, this is serious.
I know, sir. I must go away, lest you try to defend me and get yourself into trouble.
Yes, go inside and pack your things, and I'll give you some money in your manumission.
I thank you, sir, for the money, but I hadn't better take my freedom. If I were caught with the manumission in my possession, it might look as though you had rewarded me, sir.
I suppose you're right. But go down to Captain Fulvius' ship. I'm sure he'll hide you away.
I'm sure he will, sir.
My orders from the Emperor are to go to Jerusalem and find out all I can about the Galilean. Isn't that great, Demetrius? Just what I always wanted to do, and now we can go about it by imperial command. So go to Joppa with Captain Fulvius, and I'll meet you in Jerusalem in the spring.
I'll give word to you somehow, sir.
Send the letters to Obin Yosef, the weaver. He'll see that I get them. But hurry up inside. Our friend will be reviving soon, and I'll be in to give you your money.
Yes, sir.
Your slave goes, sir?
Yes, he'll be gone in just a few moments.
I never would have thought Demetrius could be so violent. He's so gentle-spoken.
Here, you. What are you doing?
Only trying to help you, sir.
When the Tetrarchs find out what's been going on here, they'll be head rolling.
And what do you plan on telling the Tetrarch, Tribune Quintus? And you insulted a respectable young woman, and then tried to stab a slave that intervened, and then let him beat you up and disarm you with your bare hands? A very interesting story. Perhaps I'll come along with you and help you tell it. I wouldn't miss this for the world.
I won't need your help.
Let me put you up, sir, until you're feeling better.
An excellent suggestion, Phoebe. And I suggest, Tribune Quintus, that you accept the offer. Better put yourself away here until you're ready to sell. Then none of your friends will have a story to tell the next time he visits Rome.
I'll have that slave of yours whipped to ribbons, Gallio.
Perhaps you'd like to do it yourself, Tribune Quintus.
Soldiers aren't stopping? Oh, but they will. Half of Jerusalem knows that the Christians meet here. It'd be well that we choose another place. With Simon Peter in prison, I don't know what's to become of us. He's been our strength. Well, don't underestimate yourself, Stephen. With Simon Peter in jail, they will look to me. I pray that I'm equal to it. You will be, I'm sure of it. This is a sorry homecoming for you, my friend. We're so wrapped up in our own troubles that I scarcely ask if you're well.
That's all right. I'm fine.
You met Marcel's in Galilee?
I met my master in Old Justice at Capernaum when we came to Jerusalem together.
How's he feel after these past weeks in Galilee?
Well, he just can't quite accept the fact that Jesus rose from the dead. But he does feel that he was the greatest man who ever lived.
Demetrius, Stephen!
We were just speaking of you, sir.
Welcome, Marcellus Gallio.
Excuse me, Stephen, for being late, but I had trouble getting through the crowds in the streets. The Roman legionnaires were everywhere.
They're looking for Christians. Last night they arrested Simon.
I suppose this is to be expected. As our number grows, they become more and more alarmed.
I'm sorry for our weakness. Demetrius tells me he had an interesting journey to the Galilee.
Interesting and bewildering. Justice was a good guy, and everywhere we went, we heard so many strange stories. It was difficult to believe them, and difficult not to believe them.
You visited Capernaum, Sepphoris, Cana?
Yes, and everywhere we went, we met those whom Jesus had touched. There's a girl named Miriam in Cana, a crippled girl.
I've heard of Miriam.
Yes, she sings beautifully, and she says it was Jesus that awakened the music in her heart. And then old Herod the potter speaks of water being turned into wine at a wedding feast in his home. And old Nathaniel Bartholomew, he says that the very winds and waves are subject to Jesus' command. And now I've been told that even death has been overcome.
That is true.
But that makes Jesus a God, Stephen. And why would a God let himself be whipped and beaten and reviled and hung on a cross?
I saw him, Marcellus, in his very house.
Jesus came here?
It was 10 days after the crucifixion. We'd had a very simple supper here together, and there had been much talk about Jesus' reappearance, and several of the disciples claimed to have seen him. I couldn't believe it, though I kept still. But Thomas wasn't as restrained.
Thomas, one of the disciples?
He said what many of us were thinking. I don't believe a word of what he said, and I don't intend to believe it until I've seen with my own eyes, touched his wounds with my hands.
But weren't those who claimed to have seen Jesus offended?
They didn't have time to be offended. Jesus was standing there at Thomas's elbow.
No, Stephen.
Yes, Jesus stood there, holding out his hands. You could see the deep wounds in his palms. Touched him, he said. That was too much for Thomas. He just covered his face and he cried like a child.
And then what happened?
Then Joseph filled the supper plate and he offered it to Jesus. And Jesus took an egg. And the day was fading fast, and Philip suggested the lamps be lighted. And then Joseph held up the lamp and Andrew lighted it, and Jesus was not there.
You mean just vanished?
Well, he might have gone out through the door, but no one heard it open or close.
Did you see him again?
Yes, on the hilltop, a few miles north of here. There was about 100 of us. There was just the sunrise. He gave us his blessing, and we bowed our heads, and then there was a murmuring of voices. And when we raised our eyes, he was gone.
But where did he go? Where did he go, Stephen?
I don't know. I only know that he's alive. And sometimes I feel close to him. Sir, I think Stephen might like to see the road.
Yes, of course.
This was my master's robe. He wore it when he healed the sick, comforted the sorrowing. He wore it when he went to the cross to die for me. I'm a believer. And for you. For what they tried you.